Hey there, welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Today I'm going to give you my verdict on Mountain Magic and Mountain West soil products. Let's go. So Ken over at Orchid Supply Store was kind enough to send me a bunch of bags of different product that he and his son are beginning to sell. And they've been selling them for a while now, but he wants to see if there's a market for them and if they're worthwhile. He sent them to me very generously, and I had 7 or 8 different kind of bagged products, soil products, amendments, and garden mixes. These products are made by a company called Mountain West or Mountain Magic. They go under those brands, and they're purported to be some really good high quality stuff. So let's see what I got and how they've performed for me, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it because I like this stuff. Here are some of the products. Mountain Magic Soil Pep. This is essentially pine bark fines. Very good. Pine bark fines are very hard to find. That's supposed to really invigorate your soil and condition your soil. And I'm going to use it for some fruit trees. I've got this raised bed garden soil. This is very high quality stuff. Good stuff. Look how rich this is. I don't know if you can see that. Nice and fine. The bits of perlite are very small, and this has been very good stuff for potting. Although it's called raised bed soil, I've used it in a little bit of potting. I've got this steer manure compost blend. This stuff has a lot of wood in it, but a lot of steer manure. And the steer manure I tested for aminopyrrolate herbicides, and it came back free from contamination. And I called the company that supplies the steer manure to Mountain Magic or Mountain West, and they said they don't spray anything because they graze their cattle on public lands. So this is a very good product right here. I've got this Black Mountain Peat. Look at this stuff. I've used this in some potting mixes. Talk about black. I mean, that's full sun shining on that, and it's black. So very good product, nicely ground. No big chunks like you would find in some of the other peat mosses you find. That's really nice. These products are incredible. I'm really glad to have discovered this Mountain Magic. So let me show you my favorite product. Always the noise. What do you think, Phoebe? Huh? Too noisy out here, huh? Friends, this is my favorite stuff. This Professional Growers Blend is like a potting soil, and I used up an entire bag of this stuff potting up my plants, and I want to show you how well my plants did. I don't know that you'll believe me, but I try to be honest here, and I hope you'll take my word. I used this stuff right here, Professional Growers Blend. It is a potting soil. It's got compost, coconut coir, and perlite, and it is good stuff. Let me show you my plants. These are the tomato plants that were potted up from seedlings into that Professional Growers Blend, and they got about, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks of growth beyond the kind of tomato plant that was planted in my regular big box store potting mix. So when I potted these up into the Professional Growers mix, they shot up really well. They were well fed. That was a real nourishing potting soil. And when I put them out in the garden, they had a head start over the one that I put in regular potting soil that I bought from the big box store. So the health of some of my plants, let's go look at these peppers over here. The health of these seedlings that were potted up, I mean, look how dark green that pepper plant is. Look how loaded that cayenne is with green fruits so far. I kind of attribute this to the nutritious potting mix that I used to pot them up in. Normally at this point in the year they're not that big, but yeah, I believe that this is good stuff. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use that soil pep, and I'm going to plant a southern sweet cherry, which is also called Barbados cherry. It's not a true cherry. A Barbados cherry tree and acerola, they go by many names. But this stuff is so good that I'm going to use it to plant perennial that I expect to be around a long time, and I'm going to show you how good this stuff looks when we pour it out of the bag. The only downside, if I was to say one negative thing about this product, is that you have to order it online, and shipping is terribly expensive. I believe that if you have some prize plants that you want to give the very best quality soil to, it might be worth your time to pay for a bag of this stuff. A bag of this stuff shipped is going to be around $70. That's going to knock it out of most people's budget, and I understand that. That's why Ken is wanting to see if there's a market for this. You can arrange, I think Ken told me, if you live near him, I think he lives in Alabama, I'll have to check. But if you can arrange to pick this stuff up locally, you'll save a lot of money. But is it worth the shipping? That's what you can decide. I think that if I had a prize tree, like let's say I bought myself a one kind of tree that is kind of finicky, like say an avocado tree, and I wanted to grow that in a container, I might invest in some of this soil. But as it is, I've got a Barbados Cherry tree I want to plant in the very best soil. So I'm going to put it in this professional growers blend along with the soil prep, the soil pep, and we'll see how it does. I'm pretty sure it's going to do good. In fact, let me show you some trees that have perked up after having put on some of the steer manure and some of the products that I've bought from Mountain West, or that I got from Mountain West. Let's go take a look at those. This is my mandarin orange tree, and I top dressed with some of that steer manure and let it sit here for it's been in this pot, top dressed on this pot for about 2 months now, and I've got some very lush green growth. I haven't had good growth on this satsuma since it fruited in December and was kind of knocked back by the weather, and all the growth that was coming back wasn't looking so good. So in February I top dressed with that steer manure, and the tree has responded by greening up real nicely. Real healthy leaves, lots of good new growth. Very awesome. This basil plant was planted in potting soil in the professional growers blend, and it was topped with some of that steer manure, which also kind of acts as a mulch because it's got a lot of wood chip in there. And this is a very healthy basil plant. In fact, starting to bolt there, we need to pluck that off. This basil plant is among the healthiest basil plants I've ever grown. Look at that, it's beautiful, and that smell. So yeah, this is good stuff. I'm going to plant my cherry tree in this 25-gallon big bucket. My buddy Frank in Michigan turned me onto these buckets. $13 online. Don't remember where I got them, but I'll try to put a link down in the description. A couple of them arrived damaged, but hey, for $13, and I ordered 8 of them, there's 7 that are usable. This bucket is sold by your local big box store, and they call it a 20-gallon bucket, but you could put that bucket in there and it totally gets engulfed. My buddy Frank wanted me to show you this because there's a huge difference in size between the volume of this and the volume of that. So we're going to plant here. When you have a pot this big, man, that's a lot of space to fill up. That's a lot of material, and I want it to be good material. I'm going to do this, I think, in layers. This Mountain Magic raised bed soil is nicely draining enough to put in a container. I'm going to fill the bottom of this container with this stuff because it's got good composted bark fines. It's got some reed sedge, peat, some perlite, some sphagnum peat moss, some compost, and some cocoa coir. Man, that's what you would put in a good container mix, and bark fines are excellent for growing fruit trees in. This is going to be some great stuff to put in my cherry tree pot. So let me get this going. Look out, Phoebo. Take a look at this stuff. Look at that. I mean, that is well draining. It's filled with organic material, bark fines. The perlite, once again, the perlite is a very finely screened perlite, not like that huge chunk stuff you get in the cheap mix. Yeah, that's gonna work well. Very nice. I better measure the base of my tree. Make sure I don't overfill. All right, that's about where I want it. So my root ball will sit right on top of that wonderful mix there, and will backfill around the sides up to the ground level of the original pot. This is a 3-gallon nursery pot, and yeah, let's put that in now. Now is the time to orient your tree straight up and down if you want it that way. So I'm going to create a little angle down there by, smashing it down. Let's get this in there. There we go. Root ball's going to break up on me. I can feel it. Let me get some better angles on this. Very gently dump it out. Wow, that's not encouraging. I just broke off half the roots. Well, that happens sometimes. This is gardening. Oh. All right. All right, now we can backfill. Glacier Gold Professional Growers Blend. I love this stuff. Once again, probably need to sharpen my knife. We're just going to backfill around this guy. Again, this stuff, it smells good. It's amazing. It's a little water heavy. It's been sitting out here in the rain, so I'm not going to try to lift this bag up till I get it about halfway empty. That's the smell of success right there. Again, I've been very impressed with this garden Professional Growers Blend, and I believe that it is probably one of the higher quality products out there. Move, move. All right. The only question is it worth the money? That is a subjective question. All I can say is that I think it is very much worth your investment if you have some very special plants, some very special trees that need some very special treatment. And my Malabar, did I say Malabar? My Barbados Cherry here is a very special tree to me, and I want it to do well. So there we go. So what I'm going to do is water this in really well. It's kind of leaning, that's okay. We'll stake it again. I'm going to turn it into the wind. All right, we need some mulch. Mulch is always a good idea on a container plant. I have discovered every now and then in the garden, this garden Professional Growers Blend, rocks. There's a couple of them in here. They're like flint gravel rocks. Maybe they process gravel at the same facility. No big deal. Man, look how black and rich that is. It's beautiful stuff. And let me just be straight up with you. I'm not being paid to say this, but I did get free product. I want to give the guy a fair shake. I agreed to do that. I agreed to be honest. If I didn't like something, if it didn't work for me, I was going to say so, and he understood that. He sent me 8 or 9 bags of product. That's a lot of money out of his pocket. But he wants to know the truth. Doesn't do any good to pay somebody to say something that's not true, because the customer's going to find out. And if I'm going to review somebody's stuff, I'm going to review it honestly. If I don't like it, if it doesn't work for me, I'm going to let you know, and I'm going to let the person who sent it to me know, because that's what they need to know. They need to know the truth. Is this an economical and viable product for you? You have to decide that, not me. Am I going to buy some more? I might buy a bag or two if I've got a special plant because of the cost. Maybe. But is it a good product? I think it's an excellent product. I think all of the products that I've received from Mountain West, from Ken at OrchidSupplyStore.com, They've all been top-notch, excellent products. They have proven to be free from aminopyrrolate herbicide, and wow, they're just excellent stuff. Is it the best gardening soil products on the market? Maybe so. I think they're at least worth a shot in the top 5. All right. My favorite mulch, hardwood mulch, shredded hardwood. This stuff's already breaking down a bit, which will add nutrients to the soil. When your mulch starts to break down and turns into this is essentially breaking down into humus, dirt. I mean, it's breaking down into really rich stuff. When your mulch gets to that point, it's probably no longer any good as mulch, but it makes a great soil amendment. Just set it on the top just like that, and let the rain take the nutrients down. Whew, all right, we got a Barbados cherry tree. That makes me happy. So, do me a favor. If you're intrigued by this product, go check out orchidsupply.com. Again, I'm not sponsored by them. They are the ones who gave me this product to try out. Go check them out, see if it's for you. If you do decide to purchase this, let me know how it goes for you. I know it's not for everyone, but that's what Ken needs to know. Is there a market for him to sell this stuff? So, I've been very impressed with it all. Ken, thank you so much for sending it to me. This will be the last video that I specifically mention this stuff in terms of review, although I'll probably mention it as I use the remainder of it up. And I'll give you a plug there too, Ken. But go check him out. orchidsupply.com. Alright, now I have a Barbados cherry, also called a southern cherry, also called an Osceola, I think. It goes by many different names, Jamaican cherry. It's actually a native cherry to the Americas. It's not a true cherry, but it looks like one. This tree produces fruit that is so high in vitamin C that it's legendary. It's used for all kinds of medicinal remedies, but it tastes really good too. So in a year or two, I'll expect to start seeing fruit on this little tree. They get about, well, you can keep them as a hedge, you can keep them as a bush. You can let them grow out to a tree. They'll get to be about 7 to 10 feet wide and 7 to 10 feet tall if you just let them go. I intend, with all, like with all my trees in pots, to keep them small. I intend to keep this tree about 4 or 5 feet tall and maybe 4 or 5 feet wide. As I watch this tree and it gets a little bit established, once it's established in here, I may move it somewhere else in my yard. They need full sun. They can tolerate a little bit of part shade, but the more sun they have, the more they fruit. So I may put this out over somewhere in the yard over there. But yeah, there's a big giant bucket, a whole lot of good soil, a brand new tree, a new fruit, a new perennial to my little backyard garden here. And perennials really make me happy. They make me happy because, well, once you plant them, most of your work is done. A little pruning here and there, a little fertilization here and there, and you have fruit every single year. A repeating, producing fruit tree. Man, that makes me happy. So, hey, thank you for joining me on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening today. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe learned something. And I hope you check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Y'all have happy gardening. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.